And with the next results coming out of the tournament, we actually get to see now who's going to be facing off against who in the next tournament. Although, one of the, at least I'd say, one of the most popular characters of the series as well and all that we get to see, and one of my favorites actually, we finally get to see have his round in the tournament, and that is Luck. And Luck hasn't been just sitting on his ass all day. Like, he's actually been stepping his actual game up and actually learning some more powers along the way, especially in this chapter of Black Clover. So with this chapter coming out, like, we got to see, like, with, like, what exactly is Luck's team? And he has one member from, like, Yuno's team and all that steel guy that comes in. He's like, oh, I've been improving too. Look, I can do this dance ability. And it's like, and there was this weird other bitch. Like, it was like this, honestly, from what we saw from her so far, it was like, I am an angel and I'm a creep. That's all you need to know about that. And I was like, I like just accept it. That's all that's going to be there for the most part. And I was like, okay, like even as well when we saw about like the top 10 and all that, like I believe like Luck was actually one of the few characters in the list that we saw. Like I believe he was like I believe he was either 6th or 7th on the list. So like he's a pretty like slightly popular character, and so it was like, all right, let's have a little bit of screen time for him for the most part as well, because hey, he's someone there that people want to see, and there you go, push him on there. And overall, from what we've seen and all that, and I've liked Luck's like first introduction arc, but we hadn't seen anything really else since then. And what's happened is that he's actually been doing a bunch of other stuff in the meantime, but we haven't seen it. And I was like, I kind of wanted to see a little bit more, because we've only seen little titty like bits here and there of there, like from what he's done. And he's actually evolved his magic from what we see with his team mates and all that. His arm is slightly changed. He's evolved his ability, which we haven't seen. This is like one of the first few times that we've seen an ability like completely changed, because Asta's got a blade and he gained another blade on that, like from his book, but it hasn't evolved per se. It hasn't, like, he's had like the actual thing infused with him with like energy, and that's where we got, like, you know, Demon Asta coming from, but we haven't actually had the blade has fully changed into something else yet, and that was what I was expecting something to happen. So that can happen. That was something as well this chapter kind of concerns, like, you can evolve your grimoire's powers. It isn't just here's another spell, here's another spell. Like, it's actually, you can enhance, it can enhance other abilities. So I was like, oh, that's something new and all that, and I'm really wondering if we're going to be getting more of that, like, later on in the series and all that, like, what Asta enhance his blades or something. Will Yuno, like, as well do something like this? Like, you know, we've seen just spells for the most part, and now that was something that really interested me with Luck, and the fact that he one-shotted it. He one-shotted the actual attack, like, from the crystal, and I was like, that was nothing. And they were kind of actually worrying about this, because even though, like, and this is the same thing with every opponent that everyone's had, it's the still thing I've been claiming about weeks, it's just still a bunch of fucking no-names that they're going against. And it's like, oh, here you go and all that. It's like, you know, go against this no-name, but it's like, oh, he's actually from, like, the Silvers and all that. Like, he belongs to the Silver Eagles, so it's like something, like, immediately they're going to face spawn. And I think as well, like, after this, like, Yuno's team is next, well, like, with Noelle, so that's, I believe that's one of the last few ones that we've got to see. I believe Yuno and Noelle are the last ones that we've got to see in the team, and that's exactly what the next issues are going to say. So after that, it sounds like after next weekend, and that's the thing, I feel bad because I'm not that excited for next week's chapter, to be fair. Like, same thing, whereas like I feel like a lot of these have been slow plays and they've been showing some good stuff, and I think this is a way improvement than what we saw from the Azure Deer guy, and they're also setting up as well. I generally feel, even though like they're full chats and everything, I feel like from what we've been getting, they're being half chats, and I know I've been grating on Clover for like a while now, and it's just that we're still in the first rounds. Like, that's something to say. We're still in the first rounds of the tournament, and I feel like, especially, like, it just has slowed down a little bit and all that. And that's just personally my taste and all that. I know a lot of people actually rather enjoy it and all that. It's like, yeah, we get to see other characters as well. I just feel like a lot of the stuff that at least it's been doing and all that in the chapters, it can be done a little bit accelerated. Whereas, like, with same thing with, like, keep everything about the Zordier's backstory and all that, like, yeah, keep all that stuff in, but the fights themselves and, like, all of them, I feel like can be a little bit faster for the most part. Same thing as well with Luck, we don't need to see too much about with, like, his opponents as well, and, like, also as well, the other side is, like, we don't need to see too many, and, like, it also goes into, like, let's keep turning back to Asta and see what he thinks, like, him cheering on, it's like, no, just, there's, like, many parts where it's like, you can cut this little part out in here, and it'll be a little bit faster, but, if anything, I do appreciate that, like, what we see and all that is definitely showcasing that you do not mess at all with Luck and all that, and if anything is setting up that, like, we're gonna have an interesting fight, like, we're gonna have Luck versus the Azure guy, we're gonna have that, we're gonna have a bunch of matches coming up, I feel like, after the Yuno and Noel one, which if anything, I feel like that can be a stomp case, because you're gonna have Yuno there, you're gonna have Noel there, I don't even remember what their last, like, their teammate was, and it's like, you're gonna stomp it. So I want to see, like, look forward and all that, what's gonna be happening with the next chapter. But yeah, that's the thing. I know a lot of people saying, like, stop complaining. It's general as a reviewer and all that. I have to criticize what I'm saying, and I feel like Clover, ever since the anime has been announced and all that, has been a lot more slow pacing. And I will say, due to that, like, as much as I've loved every arc so far, Clover, I feel like if you read this as, like, it's like, if you read this in a volume or something, it's going to be great. But so far, as just weekly consumption and all that, I will say so far this arc has been a little bit lackluster for the most part, considering that it is, for the most part, setting up for some romance, so we can go against, like, the main villain. So, well, we'll have to wait and see and all that, what's going to be happening and all that. So, like, that's all that's going to be me from here on. So thank you very much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys, though, next time.